What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Shonef71, aka Digadulamite,
That purple bling bling, y'all.
and your auditory canals are tuned into episode 247 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. And as usual, I am not at the digital studio alone. I got my partners in crime first on deck. We got Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover.
Or hater, depending on, what game we're talking about.
Indeed. AKA the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy. What's going on, man?
Hey, not much at all. Just happy to be here, as always, talking about games with you fine fellows. So many games are coming out. Good, bad, ugly. It's a great time to be a gamer. I'll tell you that right now. So super excited.
It is indeed. And of course, our show is a no-go without Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
You.
But you might also know him at the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. How's it going?
It's going good. We, had a little break from recording, so got 2 weeks under my belt. Kind of maximizing my value, but I'm kind of wondering, okay, what am I maximizing my value towards? I did some trades at GameStop, of course. They had like a 50% trade boost, and it's like I have trade credit and like nothing to spend it on. So, story of my life. So.
Oh, well, it is what it is, my friend.
I got some hot dog hair, Prince of Persia, Lost Crown, or whatever the name of that game is. So.
Hot dog hair, I love it. Hot
Ballpark
dog Prince.
Frank.
Ballpark Frank, yeah.
Ballparks of Persia.
Have you tried? What do you think of the game?
I saw that. I have to go pick it up. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I liked it when we played it at PAX last year. So I got my taste. So seems like it's cool, but I got a lot of cool games. So being one thing, it's another thing. But yeah.
Well, hey, that's all wonderful. So, as always, our first topic on our docket is going to be the playlist. All right, let's kick things off with Jabroni Chief. What you been up to?
Last couple of weeks, just I hate to say, just playing the usuals on here. I played Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League a little further. Got to see some of the lore and whatnot. I was kind of impressed as far as the story sequences I saw in the game, but I like the gameplay. It seems like the gameplay was kind of cool, just to jump and start shooting at various enemies out in the world. Kind of gave me some, dare I say it, Crackdown vibes a bit, but I was kept being funneled by Amanda Waller to go to the next point and to stop doodling around, basically. So
is that like a time limit to complete things?
Not a time limit, but there's a impetus in the story. It's telling you, because I had to go rescue the Flash, because Green Lantern was kicking his ass, basically, because Green Lantern was controlled under Brainiac's control on there, and so all the heroes have gone rogue, basically. So I got the rescue Flash, basically. He was hidden due to his super speed, but I just wanted to go on the game world and just start, kind of fighting random enemies and getting into the gameplay loop. But you could hear the basically story of the narrative. We need to go rescue Flash and all this other stuff. So I went to go rescue Flash, and then I encountered, zombie Batman, and zombie Batman obviously was just a little bit unchained a bit, not your usual Batman. Your Batman with amped up on zombie fuel, on Brainiac fuel. So past that encounter, and after that, my time ran up with the game, and so I got back to the library. I didn't delete my save file or anything, but I didn't queue it back up. I'm just thinking this will become at some point service fodder if need be. It'll be on like a PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass at some point. So, I think it's worthy, especially with the story sequences I saw and everything, of possible playthrough if need be. But, I got, like I said in the open, I got a ton of other awesome, cool games to play too. So it doesn't look like I'm going to go back to this game anytime soon. I know there was a recent price cut with the game, like they lowered the price to $40 on there. So, I saw it on a Walmart, the deluxe edition with all the extra doodads for I think $70, normally $100. And it's like I looked at that like lop off a zero, and then maybe I'd think about it.
That's a $7 game.
I think it's worthy. I think me and Desmond were talking about it, I think in the last couple of weeks, where I was thinking maybe Gotham Knights might be something to play versus this, at least. So
most definitely.
Yeah, because at least Gotham Knights, I'm up in the Bat family lore kind of thing. I'm a Batman fan in general, so I think that would kind of hit more than this game, even though I do appreciate Suicide Squad. But it's just kind of funky. I play as Deadshot because Deadshot seems the more likely to have a jetpack, even though
it's easier to control.
Yeah. So I haven't messed, I think Harley's cool. I like the grappling hook, but it just seems like it's not, at least for me right now, like kind of intuitive on there. Probably there's a little learning curve with her if need be. So, but I wish the game had a little bit more to it, but I want to give it a little bit more time if need be. I know some people out there said they kind of ignored the live service elements of this game and just kind of concentrated on playing it as a single player game. And so I think it might, even though everyone's lauding it for like all this, like, season pass and, live service BS, there might be a decent game in with all that crap, basically. So it's just getting to the meat and bones of it. I think it suffers the same things like Marvel's Avengers, because there are some people out there that consider that game as being decent if you played it with beginning, middle, and end kind of thing versus playing it as a service game per se. So
yeah, it never should have been a service game. It should have been a superhero game.
Yeah,
agreed.
Instead of a third-person shooter.
Yeah, agreed 100%. There's no need for it to be what it was. So, but here's hoping that it's better.
Yeah, I'm still playing Tiny Tina Wonderland, so that's been like it's my go-to kind of comfort game on there. Haven't really played any multiplayer on that or anything like that. I'm just kind of slowly making my way through the campaign. I got to the level cap, which is 40, and so I'm starting to get the other abilities as far as earning points to gear up a particular attributes and so on and so forth. So still been playing that quite a bit on there. Played an indie title named Animal Well that seems all the rage. I enjoyed this game when I played it at PAX last year, and so I basically am very familiar with it. I think I played it for at least a half an hour, 45 minutes at PAX. That's how deep I got into the mix. So enjoyed what I played so far. There's like some Metroidvania elements to it, but there's some light puzzle solving. It's nothing where it's going to rack your brain or anything like that. I love the fact that the DualSense features, as far as it's very well tuned as far as the vibration is concerned on there. It's probably, I heard that even the Steam version has good vibration, like good elements. So they seem like they designed this game very well. And so it's on PlayStation Plus Extra. So if you happen to have the service on there, you can play it for free there. I think PlayStation lately, even though they haven't really been advertising as much, has had quite a bit of notable indie games that have been dropping on the service. They had that EA game drop from that one guy that was the voice actor for Assassin's Creed Origins. I think it's Legend of Cow, I think, or I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, yes, that was the one you're talking about.
Yeah. So I mean that dropped. There's a few games that have dropped day one on PlayStation Plus that maybe not a lot of people have been talking about. So I definitely would recommend to take a look to see as far as what's dropping on the service, because I mean if I'm comparing apples to oranges, I did fire up my Xbox for the first time since the month of Xbox and kind of cleaned the fridge out on there. So I was contemplating on just deleting all of my data and trading it in, but I wound up not doing that. So on there, but we'll talk about that, all more of that business and news. But I also played, because we talked the last episode about Earth Defense Force 6. I fired up and tried out Earth Defense Force World Brothers again on there, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt I had a great time playing it, my playthrough of it. So it seemed, I think when I first tried it out and when it first came out and I gave it a whirl, it's just wasn't hitting those usual EDF, like, talking points of, like the feel, because how odd Iron Rain is, and the other spin-offs are, that I wasn't feeling it at first, but it's very arcadey, very fluid, which is crazy. I've gotten used to having the, because you basically have a team of 4 that you could switch on the fly on there. I love the fact that I could go back from soldier to wing diver with a touch of a button, basically, and to be able to do that. And of course, all your ethnicity based brothers as well. One of the first brothers you get is the amigo brother, the mariachi man on there. So he has a guitar, and then he has the sambas on there. He has a samba super on there, which basically what happens with the samba super is that once you activate that, then you switch to another brother, and that will like basically boost your normal attack from whatever character you decide to go. So your amigo brother is like in the background. I picked up like they have a British brother that's like a guardsman, like like one of the guardsmen out at Buckingham Palace kind of thing. So he has a sniper rifle, and then they have like from um, like Norway or Denmark. They have like a sister, a tulip sister, so she busts out the tulips and whatnot. So it's just think of every like usual trope for a particular country, and there's probably going to be a brother associated or a sister associated with that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I picked up like also too some other EDF characters, like one guy from Iron Rain I picked up. So. And part of the thing is that you go into a mission and there's like fallen, brothers or sisters on the playing field you have to go rescue, and then you add them to your squad. Then from there, but
So when you add them to your squad, do they run with you as AI?
Yeah, basically
Okay.
your 4 characters that run with you, they will fight and fight against the aliens and the bugs in the background while you switch. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of cool in that aspect too. So I kind of was keeping my eye on this game. I never really gave it a fair shake, and EDF World Brothers 2 is coming out, I believe, next week. So it's going to be coming out in Japan this upcoming week. So I figured I might as well, especially since I have EDF 6 on the way. It's going to ship, I think, tomorrow, I believe. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you didn't get my hints, listeners, from the last show, but this man could not wait to buy this game digitally. I'd rather have it physically, just have it on my doorstep ahead of time to be able to play it, because it's the same game that's going to be released on Steam and PSN in late July. So I actually found someone streaming it, the English version, so it's very very comical. You can say it that. So they're playing the voice acting right directly on the nose, so it's like almost too serious to be serious. So you went into a briefing room and you had a guy basically calling me a maggot and all sort of crap, and that, you know, had all these guys in the EDF that because of all the other soldiers fallen, that you got some janitors and some other type folk enrolling in the EDF to fight against, you know.
If you can pick up a gun, you're going to the front.
You got
Pretty
it.
much.
Yep. I love the fact that World Brothers too, because you know the premise of it is that the world's basically just separated and just made into these separate, like, blocky biomes. So you know, during one of the missions I was on, I actually fell off the damn world. So kind of reminds me of, you know, Tiny Tina's, because Tiny Tina's, I comically always, like, I'm at the edge of the play field or the level, and I'm always looking to see if I could find some additional secrets. And you know, there's never any secrets. They don't hide them that well, and so I'm just basically falling like a dodo, basically. So I just gotta realize if you want to, you know, retreat backwards, you gotta be mindful of the map, because you could fall off the map in World Brothers. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, but you know, if you guys want to check out World Brothers and play it multiplayer, let me know. It's on PlayStation Plus. It's an extra game as well, so it is on the service. So I know Surgeon Fire has played some. I know him and Steven, I think, was playing. So might be worthy of a game night playthrough. Who knows? So,
okay.
But that's all for me for this past 2 weeks. Kev, what you been up to? What you been playing?
I haven't been up to too much. I've been on vacation for the past week, and I did have time to play some games, but my variety did not change at all. So Helldivers 2, of course, has been in the rotation. I opened up some more support stratagems and a couple other support weapon stratagems, namely the recoilless rifle and the flamethrower. And right now the meta is flame based. There's a flame based build that's kind of like the going meta, although I think it has been slightly nerfed with this last update that recently happened. I can still solo. I can solo the challenging levels, but I can't map clear on challenging. I always run out of lives when I try to do it. I can complete the main objectives pretty well, but when I've got to go around the map and exterminating bug hives and doing all this other stuff, that's when I start getting clowned, because usually I run into the stalkers, and this game has been cranking out like stalker nests. And there's nothing more terrifying than having them damn stalkers like literally just shadowing you, just waiting for you to turn around so they can, you know, gut you with their pinchers. And that has happened more than once. It's like I'm fighting a horde of other enemies coming toward me, and I turn around and I've got a stalker like dead in my face. But still having fun with that, figuring some things out. And like I said, my goal is to solo Helldivers level. So I've got two more levels to work through and just kind of get used to just the hectic pace of those levels. There's just a whole lot coming at you. But the other game I've been playing has been Dragon's Dogma 2, and I've put in a lot of time in this game, and I feel I've played enough of it to give a review. I think it's a great game. If I had to give it a score, I would give it something like high 80s, like an 88. Or well, I prefer letters, so I'll give it a B+. There are some things that this game does from a design standpoint that are game breaking if you don't know it ahead of time, and I think that's just the result of poor design. I mean, in this one aspect, and this is what I'll say. When you get outfits that are required for you to wear to complete certain missions, don't sell them, because they are key elements that will or key items that will pop up in other missions, and if you have sold them, you can't go forward in the game. The
Okay,
game
that's
does
just
not
silly.
the game does not tell you that they are key elements. There is no
Mhm.
section in your inventory that says key element, or it doesn't ask you, are you sure you wanna sell this? There is nothing in the game that suggests that you need to save these items and keep them for future use. Absolutely nothing. The thing that I had to do was I had to infiltrate a masquerade party that was going on for the fake arisen. I don't know. I don't want to say too much more than that, but I did the mission, completed the mission, and was on my way to do some side quests that I had opened up. And I needed some gold to kind of boost some equipment between my main pawn and myself. So I had multiple copies of these clothes. I just went and grabbed them all and I sold them. And I had to do another mission, story-based mission, not even a side quest that I could say, well, you know what, I don't have them clothes. I don't, so what? I'll just go on with the main story. Main story quest. I needed those clothes again. Now, I could buy those clothes for 350,000 gold, which I did not have anywhere near.
I hope you got that much for selling them.
No, I got
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, the selling of those pieces was like, I think it was like 4 or 5 thousand gold a piece. I
Hmm.
mean, the exchange rate on equipment is redunculous in this game. But I was like, wait a minute, I need to use these clothes again? Yep. And so I said, well, to the YouTubes, there has got to be some other another. And by the way, these things do not respawn. These clothes, your key items, when you collect them, while many things respawn in the world, like certain pickups, certain treasures, hell, even bridges respawn in this game. Clothes in random items, whether it's weapons, whether it's cloaks or anything else, they do not respawn in this game. That includes key elements, key items that you need to continue the main story. And in my opinion, that is a serious flaw in
Oh
game.
yeah, most definitely.
So I was almost to the point where, because I don't even know how many hours I put into this game, and I spent multiple hours just trying to figure out where the hell I can find another pair of fancy clothes so I can complete this last mission and it's not the last mission of the game, but it is the last mission of this person who has been giving me the the things I need to do to complete the main quest. And I was just like, okay. I tried reloading from a past save. I had already sold those clothes by the earliest save that I had. And I was like, I am not starting this freaking game back over again. If I have to start it over again, I'm just gonna sell it. So you know, just randomly going into the noble, where the rich people live, the nobles quarters. I just happened to walk into some random house and some random chest that I hadn't opened before, and I found a complete set of clothes.
Mm.
Did not see that listed anywhere in the any of the other video guides that I saw. It was just a house that I hadn't been in and a chest that I hadn't opened, and I had a complete set of fancy clothes that I could wear to complete the mission. Okay, that's one thing that's game breaking. Second thing that's game breaking, but not quite as bad. I mean, it is if you are just one of those people that's just bound and determined um, to complete things on your own. But this will be frustrating. I had to do and this was a side quest that I needed to unlock this job title that I really wanted to use. I won't say what it is 'cause I don't want to. Well, it's a job title. There's the job title of Mystic Archer, which is like once you get Mystic Archer charged up, you're basically One Punch Man. I mean, you're taking stuff out like crazy, and you can do things like buff your party with in barriers that protect them from all damage, all magic damage. It's crazy. It's super long to get it, but once you do get it, it's like, man, it's a lot of fun because the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn that damn griffin into a roast turkey. That's the first thing I'm gonna do when I get up my Mystic Archer leveled up. But
Yeah, that was
the way you get it.
that was the class that I played pretty respectively. Pretty most of the time was the
Mhm.
Mystic Archer. It was really fun in the first game.
Yeah, and they just amped him up in this one. The issue was the person that I get the mission from. I found him, did what he wanted me to do, but I had to again escort him to another place because he has a bad back and he needs to go to these hot springs to get his back cured. His wife, the character's a dwarf. His wife is an elf. And in this world, elves and dwarves have been to war over the millennia several times, and they don't really like each other. And each race considers them a race traitor for marrying, their enemy, quote unquote. So they live in this house way out in the middle of nowhere. And you find a guy, he's thrown his back out. You help him with some medications on the spot. Then he asks you to take him to meet him at his house. You go to his house and his back gets thrown out while he's trying to give you your reward. You have to take him to the hot springs, and when you do, his wife will come out, who has been shadowing you the whole time, will come out and say, "Well, I didn't trust you at first, but you seem trustworthy. I will share my people's, my family line's greatest skill, the Mystic Archer." And that's how you open up that category. And when you go to an inn, or rather to a job class, a guild, you can switch to that. Here's what happened. As I'm taking the dude to the hot springs, I'm attacked by monsters. I get attacked by a griffin. Mr. Griffin shows his face again, and I get attacked by these. They're like saurians, but in this area, they have these rocky backs, so they got much more staying power than the regular saurians I've come across. All right, no problem. I ran past the griffin carrying the dude. Okay, got past the griffin, no problem. When I got to where I had to fight off these damn saurians, I have to cross this rocky, because in this game, in this world, all the oceans of this world are basically infected by this giant amoeba. So you can't get on a boat and go nowhere. The boat will sink. This amoeba will destroy it. And you can't go into the water, any water that's above waist deep, because you'll get consumed. Now, because you're the Arisen, you'll just pop back up on land, restart. But anybody else that happens to, they get killed. That includes needed characters to complete quests. So I've got this dude. I'm carrying this dude across this rocky area. There's ocean to the left. There's ocean to the right. I've got a rocky crossway that I need to get across. Saurians show up. No, it wasn't Saurians. It was orcs, and these orcs in this area they all got heavy armor. So okay, I got some orcs. No problem. My pawns start putting in work. I'm hanging out in the back. I put the dude down, and I'm laying in with special arrow skills. I'm taking them out. What I don't notice until it's too late is whenever they Capcom programmed this dude to go into like a scared motion, and as he does, he starts walking backwards, but in taking these wide circular motions. So Homeboy is literally walking backward, quote unquote, trying to stay out the way, but he's arcing toward one side of the rock path and is going into the ocean. So I don't see this until I'm about ready to kill the last orc, who's all the way on the other side, mind you. My pawns are like at the vanguard putting in work. I'm like, okay, let me go grab this. And I see the dude wandering and literally fall off the rock ledge into the ocean and get consumed. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
That just seems
and
annoying.
Yeah.
To no end.
And it created a glitch. He respawned back on the other side of and I got lucky. I found out I got lucky by checking YouTube. He respawned on the right where we crossed that bridge or that rock path, okay? But the icon on the map shows his original location, not where I need to take him. So where I need to take him, I haven't even opened up on the map yet. So I got to try and figure out where this freaking spring is. So I go to the YouTubes and I had to search because nobody really addressed except one video what happens when this dude dies. So basically what they're saying, if you haven't saved, if the computer didn't autosave for you, you really can't complete the mission because he won't respawn unless, or the only other thing you can do is if you have a what they call a wake stone, which resurrects the dead. You can go to the morgue in the area and find him there, bring him back to life, and start everything over again. But if he respawns and you grab him, what the game did in my case was it just kept him at his first starting point where you meet him on the map. So he keeps telling you, okay, take me to the hot spring, but the icon on the map doesn't tell you where the hot spring is because it's glitched. I had to look up where the hot spring was and figure it out because it was not marked on the map. So I take him there and was finally able to complete everything, but I got lucky because usually what happens is the dude is dead and you've got to if you don't have a resurrection stone or a wake stone, which I did not, and wake stones are like, you can buy them. I think you can buy them in the store, but I think they're on the PlayStation store or whatever store front that on the platform you're playing on, they're ridiculously priced. They're not, believe it or not, they're not as expensive as the fancy clothes, but they're crazy expensive. I didn't have that much gold, and I wasn't about to do these dumb gold farming things that they say you can do for, well, you'll earn 100,000 in an hour, and it's like, okay, I've already put in multiple hours this day just trying to get the Mystic Archer. Now you're gonna tell me I got to put in more hours just grabbing, picking berries and letting them ripen and sit down. And I ain't doing all that. But I got lucky. But things like that make this game, and the fact that it does not hold your hand at all. I mean, it hasn't got any better with regard to how to figure certain things out. I've had several quests where the solution to the problem didn't make any sense. Like I had there's like this one dude who what is he asking for? Oh, he's asking for he wants you to find this gem that he done lost. And I wound up not doing it because it didn't make sense. The way you do the way you do it is you have to go into like back to the capital city and wander around and wait for this random NPC to spawn in, because this guy moves from one city to the next. So if you don't see him, you have to sit on a bench and go to sleep if you don't want to pay money at the inn to restore your health, and advance days forward until he shows up again. And then when he shows up again, he's in like a general area. He's not standing still. He's not going to be at the same spot. So you got to walk around and try to find him. It's like, I ain't doing all that. Again, that's like poor game design. But the core of this game is fun. But if, you know, even for people who don't like to be handheld, there are things this game does that make it frustrating. And I think I did not have this type of experience with the first game. I never had to try and guess where somebody was going to be or figure something out that didn't make no sense. They didn't do that in the first game. Now, I didn't 100% the first game either, so maybe there was some stuff that I just didn't do. But this game definitely does not hold your hand, but it has a gameplay loop that is 110% addictive. The story is good. The graphics are good. And I'm not bothered by the 30 frames per second frame rate. So it's a great game otherwise, but man, they made some design decisions that just didn't make any sense. Did not make any sense. So that's what I've been up to. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Dez. What you been playing, bro?
Well, the only thing that I've really been playing, I've been trying to play a few more different games. I was thinking about playing some games, multiplayer games, because I haven't really gotten back into Tiny Tina's, and so I had this thing about playing Final Fantasy 14 online because they changed it all up again, you know, and so I was thinking about doing that, and I got into the how to set up your character and everything, and I was just like, you have to go to a secondary website and you have to do all this extra stuff, and I was just like, you know what, I don't think I want to do this, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. And then I was thinking about, Joe was talking to me about possibly doing Diablo 3, or sorry, Diablo 4, because Diablo 4, they redid a lot of there's a huge update coming up, a new season is starting, so you know, a lot of my friends are saying that it's probably going to be a good time to check back in on that game to see how it goes. So I was thinking about also going in there and seeing how that game is, because I really did like the game and I really did like the story. So I think I'm gonna try that as my multiplayer driver for a while. The other one that I was thinking about doing was oh my God, you know which one it is, Joe.
ESO.
No, not ESO, because you said you didn't really want to play ESO. So Remnant 2 was the other one.
Yeah, Remnant 2.
Yeah, Remnant 2. So I went ahead and made a new character for that because I have no idea what's going on with my other character. But I made a mistake and didn't play the demo. Sorry, not the demo. I didn't play the
intro.
The intro, like the tutorial. So I think I'm going to go back and do that because I really don't remember anything about the game so much, you know. So if you're thinking about joining us for our game night, stay tuned because there's a couple of new things about game nights coming. So please stay tuned for that. Let us know which game you think that you would like to play with us, whether it's Diablo 4 or Remnant 2, or even if you have another game. And let's get this game night multiplayer stuff going back. However, for the games that I've actually played though, I played two of them that have really kind of like stuck in my craw. And the first one was I played Relayer. And so Relayer is a anime. It's not based on an anime or anything. It's like an anime game. And by that I mean it's almost like a visual novel, or like you're watching an anime that has breaks of combat. And the combat takes place as a grid-based kind of like Final Fantasy uh line
Tactics.
yeah, basically it takes place like a tactics game. Thank you, Joe. In which you fight in these giant mechs. So the mech designs look really cool, and there's four different type of mechs, and each character pilots a specific mech. There's an attack mech that does a lot of hand-to-hand combat. There's a ranged mech, there's a scouting mech, and there's a tank mech, and there's always and they all look pretty cool. It's just that the story is just so convoluted. Even in the first, like I played it for the first 30 minutes, and I swear to God, there was just so much stuff coming at me super quickly. Like there's it's in the future, anti-gravity, there's these anti-gravity things that happened to the Earth that killed a whole bunch of people, and now there's these people called Star Children, and they're named. They have a power associated with one of the planets, and then there's these anti-Star Children that are trying to destroy the Earth, and you're this girl named Terra, and your sister Luna. You lost her during the first one, and now she's back as a villain, and it's just like, and you have to fight her. It's just a lot of stuff going on. But the thing about it is there's there was no breath, no breathing. Like when you paused it, it didn't you couldn't you could skip things, but the story was coming at you so fast, and there's like this mysterious guy who's the Watcher, but he's not exactly who he seems, and they just keep introducing to people. So it literally is like watching an anime, and I wasn't prepared for that because I had no idea what to expect, because the reviews that I've read say that the game is really good. Like the combat is really good because the mech battles are really flashy. Like it's on a grid, and you'll move up to your enemy, and then you attack the enemy, but it goes into this really cool cutscene of like you flying around in your mech doing a whole bunch of with the assault mech, you're doing a whole bunch of like sword moves as you're slashing up the other mech, and if you're the ranged one, you're flying around shooting your ranged weapon, your rifle at them. So it looks really cool, but it's just those sections are kind of few and far between what's actually happening in the game. And I really if I continue to play this, I really hope that it slows down a bit, because there's one thing about a game getting you into the story and really kind of like moving you forward, but there's a complete difference when it's like you're literally being steamrolled and you can't catch your breath. Like I literally had to stop it, and I said, okay, I could even find a place to save. So I really hope that the game saved itself, because if I have to play through all that again, then I don't know if I'm going to play through it, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Man, but if you do like big mech, combat and giant mech fighting, and super cute crazy anime girls, well, then there you go. You're probably going to love Relayer, and it was on sale. It's on a PSN sale, so check it out. The other game that I've been playing is this is on PS5 as well. So the other game that I've been playing is the Miasma Chronicles, and I love my small little indie AA games, and that's exactly what this is. It is like a quintessential AA game. It's done by the same guys that did Road to Eden, which was based on a RPG system, where you were like the duck and the boar, and you running with a human to try to find Eden. So if you're familiar with that game, you're familiar with this game, and this is a tactics game, sort of in the vein of like XCOM, set in a world where a miasma hit the planet and caused, an apocalyptic event, and you are this kid named Elvis, um, and you have like a brother who is a robot, and I'm not really sure if it is your real brother whose brain has been transferred into a robot, or it's just a robot who you call your brother named Diggs, and it takes place in Arlington, Kentucky or something. So everyone's got that Kentucky accent and stuff, and it made me think of like Chase and like John BT, and like Joe's all like, oh my god, it takes place right next to where they are. I wonder if there's any like sites you can go to, and I'm like, I don't know, I've never been to Kentucky, so I don't know. So the game is actually pretty good. It's got that fun little, double A kind of like jankiness to it. It's like XCOM light. It's very story heavy. You're trying to find your mom. You have this weird gauntlet that can control the miasma, but you have to, learn what you're doing. You're fighting these giant frog monsters, who are creatures that have been changed by the miasma, and you're kind of like trapped in this area that is kind of cut off from the rest of the United States by this miasma. And supposedly, this gauntlet that you have will help you to, traverse the wall and go into the rest of the United States to find your mother, who used her magical technology thing in order to get out of the area. And so you're trying to find her. And I don't know if she's black or not. She kind of sounds black in the because you haven't seen what her mother looks like. So I don't know. The game is all over the place, and I think that's why I kind of like it. And it's not terribly hard at all, which is great. So it's more so about the story, but it's definitely that double A kind of thing. So it's got a little bit of, there's no crafting so far in it, and your weapons, you can augment them, and I'm assuming I'm going to get some kind of miasma powers at some point that I can do during combat, but so far it's pretty interesting. It's got like a little skill tree. It's got a little bit of everything that you would expect from a traditional, tactical RPG type of game, but it's just little spatterings of it. It's like I think it tried to put a lot of stuff into it to make it as cool as possible. And I don't know, it really reads like and I love that we say this for all double A games, but it kind of reads like a sci-fi channel, Tubi kind of movie or TV series. So this is definitely one of the ones that you would kind of like put on in the background. It's got a little bit of CW in it as well. So and they curse because they're like, they're edgy because it's the future, and you're like, okay, kid.
Edgy Tubi.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It was like $15 on a sale, and it looks good. I mean, the game doesn't look bad. The color palette's kind of fun, and it's very easy to get into and get out of. So, the stages aren't too long. I'm expecting this to be probably around 15 to 20 hours of gameplay without doing anything else. Probably a little bit less than that, but at this point, it's pretty fun. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, those are mainly the two games that I've been playing. I haven't really played much of my Switch, because I found these two games that really kind of, on a sale, that really kind of pulled me in. There was a bunch of games that were on sale, and I kind of went a little crazy and got a couple of games to play. So we'll see how it goes. But that's really all that I've been playing. So.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're testing out some new indie indie type stuff, so that's
I'm
cool.
trying. I'm trying. Until EDF comes out.
Yeah, I think that's probably for all three of us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to move us to our next topic on the docket, main event coming at you. All right, Dez, you got the mic, my friend.
All righty. So for our main event question, and this is a pretty big question because as you know, summertime comes in, and as you get older, you kind of miss what you had as a child because when you're a kid, summertime was like the time where you could run around and be crazy and have fun, unless you were a bad kid and then you had to go to summer school. But hey, even then, you found a way to have a little bit of fun. And we want to bring that back, because as adults, we should have fun too. So our question, the main event question that we have today is, what plans do you have for your hot gaming summer coming up? Are you diving into your backlog? Now, what games are on your radar to buy or to play? And are you going anywhere to like a conference or anything like that? So what are you doing for gaming, this summer? Let us know and we'll discuss as our vessel line on our next episode. So I'll start. And I don't know if we've spoken about this already, probably not, but it looks like yours truly and Jabroni Gaming Chief are going back to the land of the rising sun for the Tokyo Game Show. So yes, for our summer in September, we will be taking a trip to the Tokyo Game Show. That is something that Joe hit me up about. He was like, "Hey, I really kind of want to do this." I think he was really seduced by Japan and Tokyo, and he really wants to go back there. And I'm like, hey, far be it from me, to not be a road dog, you're ride or die, so we can get out there and see exactly what that great nation has to offer, especially when it comes to video games. So for me, that's one of the things that I'm eagerly excited to do because, as you all know, or maybe you don't know, I love going to conventions. I've gone to Comic-Con. I've gone to New York Comic-Con. I've gone to Seattle for comic conventions. I've gone, to Vegas for comic conventions. I've gone to Chicago for comic conventions. So I've gone a bunch of different places for conventions, and I love them. There's something about being on a convention floor and looking at stuff at a booth. I don't know what it is, whether it's video games, whether it's comics, whether it's, figures. I just love it. And I think that one of the reasons why I really love that is because you get to see a different side of the industry, and you get to see them in there making those deals, and you get to see you're on the floor seeing the new hotness. I would equate it to people going to like car shows or going to any other kind of convention for a passion that you like, is sort of like that. So that's it for me. And I doubly have some cool information because I've actually tabled at comic book conventions when I was writing comic books a lot more regularly. I actually sold comics at that, so I've been on both sides of it, and I'll tell you, the energy and the life you get from being around people and hanging out and just doing that stuff is fantastic. So if you've ever thought about going to a convention for anything, if you ever thought about going to a convention, go to it. Take the time and go to it. It can be something as simple as a convention in your town, your hometown. There's tons of websites about various different conventions you can go to, and was most likely one for whatever you're into. So definitely take a look online and see if there's something you can go to, because I, for one, love them. And one of the things that I love specifically about video game conferences is speaking to independent or double A or single A indie creators, because you really get to see how the passion that they have for the work that they are doing. And I love interviewing them for that. I did a lot of work in journalism for a long time before I grew up and got my business degree, but my minor's in journalism. So I did a lot of features on various different people. So I love to interview people and talk to them. And when you're able to talk to someone about their passion, especially whether it's video games or comic books, the way they light up and all the stuff that you can glean from them is just fantastic. And being in a place like, Comic-Con or at PAX or any of that stuff, and to talk to them is just really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that in Japan. I have no idea how the language barrier is going to work. I have Google Translate on my phone, so me and Google are just going to have to work it out. Miss Google going to have to work it out as we're trying to interview these folks. But I cannot wait to go there. And that's one of my big plans for hot gaming summer coming up. And I know that you probably want to add on to this, Joe, because again, you were the one that brought this up to me and said, "Hey, let's go do this."
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that? And do you have any other hot gaming summer events coming up?
Well, I'm not thinking just events, but just like games I want to play too. Thing about the TGS and the reason why the whole siege was planned is just because of the fact that flights were, affordable.
Yeah.
Due to the yen being so weak in comparison to the dollar. And so I started thinking, okay, we normally go to PAX every year, so we're not going to PAX this year. So, and, because of the plans for TGS, I'm not going to go to EVO this year either on there. I know it's something to where I figured I would go to every EVO ever, but since I left Evo last year, I haven't really got back into playing fighting games. I'm looking for kind of the barrier to entry for me to be able to have a little bit more skin in the game, quote unquote, about going to Evo. Even though I do appreciate fighting games just on on the periphery, if I go to Evo again, I want to be able to be active in a particular game that is featured at Evo, or is kind of on the sidelines at Evo. I think it'd be really fun to go there to even compete, even though I know my old man reflexes are probably not going to make me, I'm not going to be up there playing Justin Wong or whoever else.
Hope not.
No, hope not either. But
It'll probably be City of the Wolves. I know that's probably what it's going to be. Probably what it's going to be for me. I still want to get into Tekken 8, but I just haven't. Dragons, first it was Stellar Blade, and now Dragon's Dogma has just grabbed all my attention. But I still want to get back into Tekken 8 because it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I mean, even Street Fighter 6. I mean, there's a number of different games out there that I could really, if I take the time like I used to back in the day, get back into. And I'm a big Virtua Fighter fan, so I'm hoping there is an announcement of some sort for that series, because that is something to where I would be there day one for that on that. So as far as anything else, I mean, I'm still looking to go with my friends Nick and Dom over to California Extreme in San Mateo. If you're not familiar with California Extreme, it is a expose of pinball and arcade games that actual enthusiasts like my friend Nick bring arcade machines or pinball machines over to this hotel, and they basically have all the arcade games and pinball games set up on free play, and you basically pay a entry fee to be able to go in and be able to play all these games. So I think going to California Extreme last year was very fun. I got to see some arcade games I haven't played in a long, long time, bringing back memories of the 80s and being able to play games like, Frontline, Gravatar, and you name it. We were playing it at California Extreme. I know I was asking Nick and Dom to see if we could stay a little bit later because we wound up going and maybe spending about maybe 4 or 5 hours on the floor and then driving back home. And I was thinking maybe it might be good to even possibly stay overnight. So we'll see what my friends are up to and see how we're going to kind of angle this and how we're going to go. There were vendors at the event too. So there's vendors selling stuff like, arcade marquees, joystick parts. There even were some vendors selling some retro video games, so on and so forth on there. So, if you happen to be in the California region and you want to check out California Extreme, I would definitely recommend giving it a look-see. I think it's the third week in July. It's the week before Evo, basically. So on that. And I'm
So I should
definitely
expect a visitor coming up, or something.
possibly. I don't. I think you told me you're not really interested in going to
I'll
California
go. I
next year.
think it'll be fun.
Okay.
I'll go. That would probably be something I could make for
You know,
even for an
because
overnight trip. Yeah, I'll be able to get there.
yeah. Well, maybe think because it's like it's just a drive. It's not like anything too crazy. It's in San Mateo. It's like basically at the hotel that's right by Levi Stadium, if you have an idea of
Oh
where
no.
that's at.
Oof.
So yeah, it's right next to the home of the San Francisco 49ers. So that's where it's at. So that's probably going to be like my go-to thing for summer as far as gaming conventions go. I mean, unfortunately, I think because our trip to TGS, I'm still thinking in the back of my mind, cheap flight to Seattle. Maybe we could do like 1 9 PAX, maybe two,
I'm
and
not
then
going to
come back.
PAX.
I know.
Like
Just
I understand and I love your enthusiasm, but no.
got
I
it.
mean, you can, but I'm not going with you for that. I got one in me, my friend.
Got one in you. Okay. Maybe I'll have to talk to my boss at work because we do have a satellite office in Seattle, and maybe you
Oh
can
Lord.
online. I know she's supposed to have a site visit to our Seattle office at some point. I'm not sure as far as when, but see la vie on that. But as far as games over the summer, I mean, I'm looking to obviously still kind of look at my backlog. I want to channel my inner chase and be able to go ahead and look at games I could probably beat on there. So maybe want to look at some indie titles, some stuff I've been wanting to play. So I mentioned the new Prince of Persia. I'll be picking that up, so I'll take a look at that. I know Star Wars Outlaws comes out the end of August, so that might be something to kind of keep an eye on. I know Luigi's Mansion 2 comes out for the Switch, but there's not a lot of like main AAA games coming out over the summer. But I'm thinking EDF6 for all three of us. I'll be playing it sooner than you two, unless you guys decide to buy the physical along with me. But that be another game that will be on my radar. Backlog. I want to get back into my Steam Deck. I want to be able to go ahead and take a look and maybe pick some games out on the Switch because I mainly like 95% of the time play on PlayStation. And so the month of Xbox kind of showed me, that I do gravitate towards the PlayStation, but I still want to be able to look at the catalogs of each system and kind of pick out something to play if need be, get some use out of each system and kind of going from there. We got Hellblade 2 coming up, which, we'll see how good, bad, and different that game is. That game might be easily beatable within 10 to 12 hour campaign. So, it might behoove me to kind of see where the grass is on the other side of the fence if need be. But I think that's what I have planned for my hot gaming summer. So, Kev, you got any good plans for your next upcoming months as far as gaming is concerned?
No.
Ah!
I've got backlog. Aside from trying to get from probably being able to go to California Extreme, Uncle Sam slapped us upside the head again this year. So yeah, thank you, Donald Trump. But I'm really probably going to be spending some time in the backlog. That's when I have time to game because I'm still. When you think summer activities, sometimes your mind goes back to that period in your life where you were a teenager or a preteen and you didn't have to work, you didn't have any responsibilities,
Yep.
and you could afford to spend 4 to 8 hours on any given day just playing games and not even tripping about it. But my gaming time has just kind of dwindled. The only reason I was able to play as much as I did was because I took a vacation, stepped away from the side business as well, just to try and recharge. But normally, the amount of gaming I did is not my. I wish it was my regular amount, but it really isn't. There are some titles dropping that I definitely want to check out. I think Black Myth Wukong got a release. Well, I think it might have had a release date. I think that dropped sometime in August. So I definitely want to play that. That game just has me written all over it. I'm curious about Hellblade 2. I didn't play the first one. Maybe might be worth, getting a 1 month of Game Pass just to check it out, see what the hubbub is. But and probably the only other game outside of EDF 6 possibly, that I'm thinking of might be, believe it or not, Hades 2. I was always kind of curious about the first game, never got around to playing it, but I've been looking at gameplay of Hades 2, and it looks kind of interesting. It does look kind of interesting. So I've never really fallen into the roguelite, or I don't know if it's a roguelike or roguelite. I never can remember the difference between those two, but the game does look like it's kind of fun. So I might be investigating that game during the summer months as well. So that's really all I've got, and maybe, just maybe, what is that, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door? I think that drops sometime this summer too. But other than that, that's probably going to be it.
Cool. So, like we said before, we would love to hear what plans you have for Hot Gaming Summer. We can talk about them. Even if you just want to play more games with us, that would be fantastic too. Because we'd love to see you on our game night. And if you want to respond, please stay to the end, and Kevin will let you know how you can do that. But you know what follows me. It's the Jabroni Gaming News.
All right, thank you, Des. Okay,
You're welcome, Joe.
Since you've been gone, we've been gone. We want to cover some ground at least a little bit, because there's been a lot going on here. So first things off, immediately, like after we got done recording our last show, episode 246 on there, basically what happened is that Sony did a U-turn, flip-flop, whatever you want to call it. So Helldivers 2, with the big controversy when we recorded our last show, was making Steam players register on PlayStation Network, and also was making the game unavailable for a list of countries, like 100 countries plus on there. So they have subsequently backed from that decision. They sent out a tweet on X and said, Helldiver fans, we heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update, the May 6 update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is the best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. So that's basically what that was. Then Johan Pilstedt, the CEO of Arrowhead Studios, basically thanked the fans for forcing the change and PlayStation for relenting. He commented on a tweet on X. Firstly, I am impressed by the willpower of the Helldivers 2 community and your ability to collaborate. Secondly, I'd like to thank our partners and friends at PlayStation for quickly and effectively making the decision to leave PSN linking optional. We together want to set a new standard for what a live game is and how developers and community can support each other to create the best game experiences. Oh boy, on there, gotta love that PR cheese on there. But I think PlayStation's decision should have been a little bit sooner. They shouldn't have let Rome burn over the weekend. But probably the powers that be were probably just oblivious. Like, don't call me, I'll call you. Weekend stance. Who knows? But good on the decision, though. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it. One thing that's kind of a lingering thing, and Ghost of Tsushima director's cut came out for Steam on there, but that same list of countries that Helldivers 2 was made unavailable for a while. Ghost of Tsushima is not available for sale in those said countries. So even though Ghost of Tsushima's Legends multiplayer mode is basically the only thing of the game that requires a PSN registration, they did basically make the game not available in those regions on Steam for that. So no one's really said anything above board as far as why they decided to do that, but I think it's what they wanted to do with Helldivers 2. They just happened not to, because of the launch and probably coming in hot, didn't get a chance to do what they wanted to do there. But Kev, what's your overall opinion as far as how PlayStation handled this decision and moving forward as far as PSN on PC?
I really don't have any skin in the game because I play on console. So it doesn't make any difference to me. I will say I still think that the people that were bitching and complaining are just being picky babies. I stand by that. Those regions where PSN is not allowed, lot and lots of piracy going on in those areas. A lot of piracy. I think the reason why the PSN, or a big reason, number one, it boosts numbers. So it looks good for the board of directors meeting. And number two, it's a stopgap, maybe not much of one because piracy is still going to go on, but it's a bit of a stopgap for people that acquire their software on ye old high seas, if you get my meaning. They'll be able to tell who has a legitimate code and who doesn't, and be able to take some type of measures at some level to try and curb that. So I get it. They're going to make you get a PSN account regardless. Although it was always in the advertising. At least there's, I guess, well, it's not even that because they never stopped saying a PSN account was required. They acquiesced with Helldivers 2 because they underestimated the appeal of the game, and they took a temporary stopgap measure to accommodate for that by making the PSN optional. And again, I believe, like I said in our Discord server, I think probably the biggest mess up that PlayStation did was not fully understanding the hardcore PC gamer. These guys are just, they're, as the kids say, they're built different. They will sign in to Ubisoft, they will sign into EA, they will sign into Take-Two, but don't you dare ask me to sign into your console peasant account in order for me to play this game. I don't understand that. When first time you boot up Division 2, what does the first thing it asks you to do across all platforms? If you don't already have a Ubisoft account, it asks you to register one. Otherwise, you can't play the game. But some kind of way, this was a bridge too far. And I think there is a PC gaming culture that, in my opinion, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it's up to PlayStation if they are going to pursue this area for profits, that they had better get a firm grip on what they will tolerate and what they will not. Otherwise, these type of things will just keep repeating. But I ain't got no skin in the game because I play on console. So
All right. Des, got anything to say about this subject, or you just
No,
kind
I
of?
mean, I expected it to. I mean, let's just say I didn't expect it to happen, but I'm not surprised that it happened. So and they must have thought that they didn't want the backlash to happen when it the way it was, or thought it might have been a little bit too high. The cost of it or the PR stuff might have been a little too high. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's victory for the people, So that's
Yeah.
cool.
Before it goes to Tsushima, basically, it's like right now. I just checked at the beginning of this morning, at least. It has passed God of War as the second biggest PlayStation PC launch and their biggest single player launch ever as well. So I think at the stats as of the beginning of this morning, they had 73,000 players on Steam playing the game on there. So that's one metric that they take a look at as far as concurrent users and whatnot. I think there's money to be made on PC for these console manufacturers. So, which we'll talk about in our next segment, which is talking about our friends at Microsoft. So basically, what happened since the last time we had a show is that as evident with all the other kind of closures and everything else in the industry, Xbox announced that they were shutting down four studios. They were shutting down Arcane Austin, the developers of Redfall, Prey, Tango Gameworks, the team that did Ghostwire Tokyo, Hi-Fi Rush, and Evil Within 1 and 2. And then they're also closing Alpha Dog, which worked on, I believe, a Mighty Doom mobile game, and Roundhouse Games as well. So, which is ironic, someone had access to Matt Booty, president of Xbox Game Studios, like internal PR announcing this decision. And of course, on that thing, he got the names of both Alpha Dog and Roundhouse Games. I think he referred to Roundhouse Games as Roundhouse Studios on there in the actual memo handed out. So, but basically, Arcane Austin and uh, Tango Gameworks are no longer. And you could kind of see with Arcane Austin as far as with Redfall falling flat on its face, but it was recently, doing some early design work for a future, like, basically um, a game like in the wheelhouse of like the Dishonored series, where it's going to be like a kind of a stealth game of some sort that they wanted to propose. And of course, Tango Gameworks was proposing or working on a proposal to work on Hi-Fi Rush 2. And so Xbox commented that basically this was a quote unquote reprioritization of titles and resources. So they did decide to go ahead and shut all four studios down on there. I know that the Roundhouse Games is being basically put in with the team that is working on ESO Online, and so a lot of the jobs there might not be lost. But of course, this got everyone up in arms about the future of Xbox. It's a point that they took on all these studios, and they needed to figure out a way to manage all these studios. And it just seems like it's like being at the grocery store. You got too much in your basket. You have to put a couple back on the shelf. They shouldn't even have picked up and grabbed these studios to begin with if this was going to occur. But especially with Tango Gameworks, it just doesn't make any sort of logical sense because of the fact that they stated before that they were happy with the results for Hi-Fi Rush, that Aaron Greenberg commented last year that it met all their internal metrics. They felt it was a smash success. The game won numerous awards. It was mentioned at the Game Awards this past year, and all that got them a big fat pink slip. So, it was commented by Arcane Lyon in France, the other Arcane, the main Arcane studio, they considered it, quote unquote, a fucking gut stab, basically, is what they referred it to. And they're being very vocal in social media as far as commenting about this. And Arcane Lyon's boss, Dinga Bakaba, he basically said that, make us proud when there's rough times and support us, don't just hand us pink slips. It's basically, there's a yin and yang to all this. So, they want to rely on these people to create something, but once the kind of going gets tough, it seems like they always reach out to fire people left and right, creative people that can work and do other things and be a resource for this giant corporation if need be. So also there was a other statement too from Matt Booty, basically telling the entire Xbox Game Studio staff that the company, quote unquote, needs smaller games that give us prestige and awards. He had a town hall meeting basically with all of his studios talking about that. And it kind of, well, what is Tango Gameworks then? They had a prestigious smaller game that got them awards. And so, obviously, between this, I don't know if you guys caught it, either you, Kev, or you, Des, but Sarah Bond got on to Bloomberg, and basically they were asking about the closure of Tango Gameworks and the studios, and all she was doing is flubbing on her words the entirety of the time, saying a big nothing burger about this. So, and
Yeah, they sent her out to take the heat for Phil's decision. Well, actually, no, it wasn't Phil's decision. My opinion, it was Satya's decision.
Yeah, it was Satya's decision. Yeah. So, I mean, in the end, with all this, it almost seems like, I think one particular media outlet, I think it was Eurogamer, said that Microsoft kind of is acting like this looks and smells like an Activision move. It seems like instead of Microsoft and Xbox acquiring Activision Blizzard, it almost seems like Activision Blizzard basically came in and took over the whole scene with Xbox and whatnot. So this seems like a Activision move. This has like even though Bobby Kodak's gone, this is smacks of Bobby Kodak in a way. So
it's more like it's a Microsoft move, because
yeah, I know it is.
This is what they do. Tango's closure does not make sense at all. And for Matt to say, yeah, well, we want smaller games that'll give us awards and kudos. And what do? You get the one studio that was actually producing that.
Yeah.
I mean, Redfall, that studio was doomed to begin with that game, because I think it's come out that they didn't even want to make that game. I don't know how it became, this is what you're gonna do, but Microsoft is needs to figure out how to feed Game Pass consistently with new titles. That was the reason apparently behind the Activision acquisition. Was the decision behind the Bethesda acquisition. This is all to feed the service. They are betting on this service, and everybody who follows this industry, who follows the service industry, is saying you can't do this with gaming at a AAA or even a AA level. People have to buy games. The math does not math with the program that they're trying to push. Even with a $1 trillion company, at some point, money has got to be made. There has to be a return on an investment, and it's almost $100 billion between Bethesda and Activision at this point, and shareholders are going to want to see a return. So Saudi just came in and said, "Hey, you guys got to take a back seat on this. The big boys are going to handle this." And that's what this is what the big boys do.
So it just seems like right now with Microsoft and Xbox that they're going to transition over to more of a less games, more AAA, quadruple A, whatever you want to call them. I just want to see them deliver on that because, we have an Xbox game showcase coming up in a couple weeks from now, and it seems like they're just always kicking the can to the next big reveal, big showcase, and it's like, where's my Everwilds, where's my, Contraband, Perfect Dark. You go down a list of Fable. It's like there's a ton of games that have been announced that basically are just like logos that I know little to nothing about, and maybe saw like a CG trailer of, and nothing else, and it's just I think they have a good intentions. It's just the point that, I don't think anyone, especially, a corporation of this fact, I mean, it's severely mismanaged at this point, and, because of the fact of how Xbox has been the last few years, it's just like, I feel for the people that want to support the platform and give them that's just kudos and enjoyed Xbox and basically was like made Xbox their platform of choice because I mean either they're enjoying Game Pass and obviously celebrate when a game comes to Game Pass, but at the same time it's like
you gotta buy games, man.
Yeah.
If you're in the console business, you gotta buy the software. I feel sorry for the developers under this umbrella because this just tells them even if your game is a success, your job ain't guaranteed.
Yeah.
Nope.
So how is that going to make the next project on the list? How is that? How confident are these people going to be to want to put their best foot forward when they know that these 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on the size of the game, 5 years or more, may just still end up with me losing my job, and I am not a per contract employee. I know it would be really hard for me to want to put my best foot forward working under that type of environment.
Yeah. I'd almost would want to just go ready, steady, and go work on Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed or something to know where, I'm working on something that is lock solid, solid if need be, or if I'm just going to be working on this particular title, this particular time, so on and so forth. But it doesn't lend itself for creativity or like new game concepts that come out and whatnot. And I think that's what was lauded as being, we could support more different types of games. We can have different games come out for the service because of the fact that we don't have to worry about selling. It's just about people downloading and be able to enjoy the games. And just it was even commented too, and I saw a number of different places that people decided to bring like an indie title out for Xbox, but because it wasn't on Games Pass, it literally sold in the hundreds, sometimes like in the low thousands, where you're not getting your rate on return because no one's buying games on the platform. It just seems like it's all funneled into wanting to play what's on the service. Even myself, it's like, I think I could speak for all three of us. We don't necessarily buy anything on Xbox. If it's exclusive, then maybe it's something I'll take a look at. Like Grim Dawn, me and Dez enjoyed quite a bit. That was an Xbox One game on there, but
it was. I don't think that was in Game Pass though.
No, it was not in Game Pass. I bought the game, so I enjoyed the game, but I'm willing to look at exclusives on the Xbox platform. I know some gamers mainly game on Xbox for the multi-plats and just go to PlayStation for their exclusives. And so for me being on the shoe on the other foot, meaning I mainly game on PlayStation, go to Xbox for exclusives. It's something to where, and we'll talk about in the next news story I'll mention right now, how that might not be something to kind of look forward to. So the news story I'm mentioning here is that there was something discovered within Xbox itself, that more Xbox games besides the 4 that they recently named as far as coming out for other platforms, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Grounded, and forgot Sea of Thieves, is that Satya wants more money on there. So more Xbox games are coming to PS5, and they even have a project name. It's called Latitude, dude. So according to the new report from Windows Central, the new multi-platform push is codenamed Latitude. So more upcoming Microsoft-owned games are slated for PlayStation, are already being developed. At least for now, they're potentially obvious games you would most likely expect. Nothing has been rolled out. From what I've heard, Microsoft is pushing for no red line for what games could come to PlayStation, and it all revolves around Satya Nadella and CFO Amy Hood's mandate to increase every department's margins. They want more rate of return of profits. So Nadella recently suggested that the company was starting to reap the rewards of increased multi-platform focus, with Xbox games performing strongly on the PlayStation Store. So Sea of Thieves is going gangbusters on PlayStation, if you haven't heard. So Microsoft has reportedly weighed up the idea of releasing Gears of War, Microsoft Flight Simulator, the next Doom game, Starfield, and Indiana Jones for rival consoles. And Phil Spencer recently said that he wouldn't ever want to roll out any game coming out to another platform. So profit margins be damned. What makes Xbox basically is going out to PlayStation and other platforms day and date. So, the motivation to have, for me, Xbox as a multi-plat machine, or not a multi-plat machine, but a exclusives machine, there's no impetus there anymore. There's no sense in even owning a separate box with an Xbox logo on it, at least for me. So I don't know how you guys feel about it. Des, I'll go to you because I know you bought a Series S. You love Obsidian's output. How do you feel about all this? If you see Avowed on PlayStation consoles day and day, are you going to be a happy man?
Yeah, because then I can play it on my preferred console. So all this shows me is that Xbox is just really trying to hedge all their bets about what's the possible best way that they can make money, or continue to make money, or to stay relevant. I do think that this whole thing about I think that when Phil was saying that we'll always have a box or a console, I think that was doublespeak, because I think that they're getting out of the console space. I think whenever you buy a new computer, you will have access to Xbox through Xbox Live and whatnot. And if you want to play it remotely, you'll have a remote handheld that you can play. I do believe that this is the future, and they're going to be allowing people to play their games anywhere, anywhere they want, because they'd rather make some money than no money. And this whole thing just and that I think that makes them more, at least in my mind, I think that it makes them believe that when people will see them, they will say, oh, this is really cool. Xbox, is allowing me to play where I want, and they're hoping that will give them some kind of good consumer value, or some kind of consumer big up, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's why I think that they are doing this, and they are unfortunately, cutting the fat of things that are not making them money, or securing their future. So And again, Xbox is playing a completely different race. So, and they are completely fine with letting PlayStation Nintendo duke it out. Because if Phil is able to strike a deal with Nintendo and have Nintendo games on PlayStation Plus, that allows Nintendo games to be played on a computer. And I'm thinking if
That'll never happen.
I think it will.
Mm-mm.
I think it will.
Nintendo will
Nintendo?
never.
I think
Nintendo will never let their games on a rival platform.
I think I don't know. I don't know.
It's never gonna happen, bro.
Easy Money says
Not
it's
as
gonna.
long as they can make a console with stuff you can pull out a Cracker Jack box, have some of the lowest development costs in the business, and sell millions of copies. There's no need for them to do that. They would be stupid to do that. They are the last bastion of what a console is, and they are making tons of money doing that.
Yeah, tons of money is a good thing, but if you can make more money, then why not?
That's just it. They will literally kill their console business, because if you're going to tell me that I can play the next Mario Brothers in 4K 60 frames per second on PlayStation, guess where I'm going
Oh
to
no
go
no no
play
no
it?
no no no! It's not going to be on PlayStation.
Well, any
No no
on
no no no!
PC, anywhere,
I
anywhere.
I think they'll allow it to
It's
be on
mm-mm,
PC. I do think that they will
no.
allow it to be on PC. I don't think they'll allow it to be on
Mm-mm,
PlayStation.
mm-mm.
Why do you think Phil is making is going to Japan all the time and talking to Japan about all these things?
Nintendo ain't listening to Phil. Phil is in last place. If Nintendo is going to listen to anybody, to listen to their own executives who are making them hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, every year. There is no reason for them to listen to Phil. There is no reason for them to listen to Sony's new people. They are doing perfectly fine, well, better than perfectly fine right now. Mm-mm.
I don't know.
That
I
would
don't
kill
know.
their Nintendo is the only console in which Xbox fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, and PC fanboys can agree on that it is, and the fan, whether we like it or not, the knuckleheads run the word of mouth in the game.
It would just be interesting to see if this comes to pass.
I'll take a bet on that. I'll take a perfect bet on that.
Ooh.
Oh wow. Okay. Well maybe see let us know your thoughts about that. Do you think that not that who's wrong or right, but do you think that Nintendo will allow their stuff to show up on a PC through an Xbox Game Pass type system? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm thinking that Nintendo will allow certain games to show up on Xbox through on a computer. Like say you buy a PC, laptop or a tower, and you have access to Microsoft to Xbox Live. Do you think that Nintendo will allow their stuff to show up on that system? I would love to hear your feedback from that. Because if Xbox is allowing that to happen through Nintendo and through PlayStation, they might allow it to happen the other way around too. So I'm just saying,
Ain't nobody giving them any games. There's no they have the smallest fan base console wise. Why would they be willing to give them software for them to play Nintendo games or PlayStation games on Xbox? That there is literally no financial gain.
Microsoft would have to buy Nintendo.
Oh, that's not gonna happen. But again, I would just love to hear your thoughts about that. So please, let us know. So you were saying, Joe?
As far as just the whole story is concerned, we'll have to see, as far as what comes up with this showcase coming up in a couple of weeks. whether we're going to see some games announce multi-plat during the showcase or not. I don't know if they would. I think they would probably want to keep it on Game Pass and Xbox solely and let the multi-plat announcements come out later. Right now I think God of War Ragnarok is rumored to be imminent for Steam, and so I'm curious during Sony's upcoming showcase if they're going to announce like the PC port or whether that's going to be done on a separate like announcement of some sort, maybe during a Keighley Fest of some sort, Summer Games Fest kind of thing. But we'll have to see what all this entails and kind of go from there. But it's kind of funny to see that noted Xbox evangelists. We talked about Tim Dog going to PlayStation last episode. Jez Corden of Windows Central basically was writing a nice editorial saying that Microsoft is basically cutting its nose off to spite its face, and that is very impatient. He's talking about like Microsoft Surface, that they weren't patient enough to let that kind of go forward. They were lamenting about the loss of Windows Phone as well. They spent all this money buying Nokia and then basically shut it all down, that stating that they just are not patient enough to let things kind of do its course, that they want to be able to go ahead and it's all in the name of profit, I guess, in Microsoft's world on there. So, and if that's the case, and with these studios shutting down, I don't know if I want to be involved with Xbox whatsoever. I'll pick and choose once they bring the game to my platforms of choice, but do I want to own an actual box underneath my TV with an Xbox logo? I think all three of us kind of agree. We're just kind of, I'm done. I mean, I almost traded my Series X in over this past weekend to GameStop, and I'm just kind of laying low and see what happens. But what's your guys' opinion? Is your Series X going out to the pasture, you think, depending on what happens in the next few months, and your Series S does?
For me personally, yeah, I'm not going to do anything with my Series X until or Series S until I know that I can get these games on other consoles. Yeah. And once that happens, oh yeah, you can best believe it's gone. It is gone. Like way of the dodo. I know I don't like to shop at GameStop anymore, but I will definitely take it to GameStop and sell it and use that to buy, I don't know, buy something like a game card or something or whatever I can buy with it. Well, but once I realize that's what I'm waiting for, honestly, to be completely frank with you, that is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Xbox to say, for Microsoft to say, hey, you can. You're
waiting for the whole slate.
Oh yeah, and it'll happen.
It's on its way sooner than people think, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of like, well, okay, here we go. And then once that happens, I am done. Goodbye. It's been fun, but I gotta run.
Well, and it's like, how do you convince people to buy a console when you do that?
You don't.
They're not. I'm telling you, they'd rather you buy a computer. There's no reason to buy a console anymore. That's what I'm telling you. It is there. It's gonna be part of a computer system. It's gonna be like you're gonna buy a computer that has Internet Explorer, and it'll have what
they already have that.
Yeah,
whenever you install Windows, it comes with Game Pass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's already integrated. Like, I mean, if anything, that's the smarter thing, because why are you spending all these resources to prop up a failing console, department, when you can literally just put it all there? Why do you think they're getting rid of all of their why do you think think about it? Why do you think that they're getting rid of their physical retail, their physical like department, people who do physical disc and stuff like that? It doesn't have physical disc readers? Laptops. People game on laptops. There's no reason for physical media anymore if you're playing a game on a laptop. So again, the writing's on the wall, folks. This is what's going to happen. So, and once they say, hey, you can get Avowed on PlayStation, once you can get all these games, the next Elder Scrolls on PlayStation, totally fine. And correct me if I'm wrong. They haven't said anything about Starfield coming out on a PlayStation yet, have they?
Not yet.
Mm-mm,
No.
Oh
no,
yeah, but
but it's coming.
It's coming.
easy money on that. Easy money on that.
They make some good money on it, especially with
And the
the.
sad thing about it is they probably would, and people would probably continue to like bag on that game. But anyway, I'm just like, wow,
I'd be interested. I mean, we talked about in a prior episode, but if the next Xbox is portable or basically is a Windows PC with Xbox compatibility running in the background, and to be able to sideload Steam on it, I mean, it does have more value than if it was just running Xbox console games. I could tell you that right now. But I don't know if I'll be romantic because all I'm thinking about is like playing my Xbox 360 catalog, and I don't even play that now. So it's like,
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any sense. So, well, other game companies out there are also seeing their noted profit not coming. So Square Enix made a mention that AAA games multi-platform is now part of their quote-unquote aggressive new business plan. So they stated their plan, which they entitled it Square Enix Reboots and Awakens. This is the name of their document on
Okay.
there, saying that their 3-year strategy will hope to lead to quote unquote long-term growth on here. So one of the 4 pillars of the plan states involves strengthening customer contact points, which will see the publisher shift to a multi-platform strategy. The plan says Square Enix will aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy that includes Nintendo platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and PCs. By doing this, they will be able to quote unquote build an environment where more customers can enjoy our titles in regards to major franchises and AAA titles, including catalog titles. While it's not explicitly mentioned in the plan, the recent releases of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth are the most obvious examples of Square Enix releasing a platform-exclusive AAA title. I don't know if you guys heard, but they said that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did not meet their sales projections. They also said Foam Stars didn't meet their sales projections. But
Are we surprised by this?
I don't know about that. And then also Final Fantasy 16, while they did like the sales that they received at the beginning, they stated that it eventually will not lead to the sales that they wanted to by the end of the 3-year period that they talked about. But you got to remember, Square Enix was the same company that said that they wanted Tomb Raider to sell 15 million copies to be successful. And so they
want Call of Duty numbers.
Yeah, they want those big ass numbers. And unfortunately, with the user base for PlayStation 5 right now, I mean, even though it's sitting at 56 million consoles out there, they don't got the saturation like PlayStation 4, so the sales that they might have received for remake, they're not getting for Rebirth right now. So, and
They probably won't.
Well, if the PS5 did have the same amount of units in homes as the PS4, there's still no guarantee that this game. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a success, but it's not a success as they want to define it.
Yeah,
it sold a crap ton of copies, but they want every game that they make. They're just like Activision. They're just like EA. They're just like Ubisoft. Every game that they make, they want it to do what Call of Duty is doing. And not every game has that kind of appeal. As big a franchise as Final Fantasy is, it is in no way going to compete with something like Call of Duty.
No,
it's not
at all.
Even if it's across every platform available. They will never get those metrics.
Another thing that was stated too about Rebirth is usually a sequel will never reach the sales of the first game in a particular series. And so Remake, Rebirth, and whatever the third game is going to be to finish the Final Fantasy VII total remake is probably not going to get the numbers that they want. So I think by them going multi-platform on Rebirth, even though right now it is a PlayStation exclusive, I mean, if that's what they want to do to get these games made, I don't mind it being multi-platform. You know, it's just Sony's going to have to look at, maybe partnering up with different companies and/or just developing their own titles to be able to say that they have some sort of exclusive if need be. So another part of this financial announcement about them emphasizing multi-platform and AAA games is that they canceled a number of projects internally at Square Enix because they were quote unquote incompatible with the group's revised approach to the development of HD games, which reflects such objectives as multi-platform development and the strengthening of internal development capacities. So basically, you remember the Square Enix of a few years ago where they were releasing all these smaller games, Triangle Strategy. You got these oddball like Valkyrie Elysium, like the new Valkyrie game that came out, where they're releasing all these like little like maybe double A like smaller projects from Square Enix. You know, the new Star Ocean.
Yeah.
They are going to basically just put their chips back into the pot, and they're only going to allocate it probably towards like major projects like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, the usual Square Enix titles that made them quite a bit of money. I guess Babylon's Fall really killed their bottom line, I guess.
So sorry.
Well, the thing is that, and this is something that I'm not hearing any publisher, software developer talk about, or maybe they are, and I'm just not listening that closely. The thing that has to be addressed is the cost of production. I don't care if it's AAA, quadruple A, 5A. It shouldn't cost the same amount to run a small country to develop a freaking video game. It shouldn't cost 300 million, 250 million. That's ridiculous. They have to do something collective, whether it's something collectively that the gaming industry needs to get together and do, or trying to figure something out with the major third-party engine. Well, I think it was only two there. What is it? The one from Epic and that other one, was it Unity? And I know there's tons of other engines out there. Some of them are proprietary and others are third party, but they've got to figure out some way to get these tools of development at a more reasonable price. That is the biggest way to affect in my mind, that is the biggest way to increase your profit margins. If you can lower the cost of developing these games.
And they're not going to do that, though, unfortunately. And the reason being is because how much it takes to, publish these games now. And I think it's unfortunate. I really wish there was a way for them to really, truly put more. I don't know. It's like, all these teraflops and all these, 8K TVs and stuff like that. Part of it becomes how much of it is keeping up with the Joneses, when matter of fact, you just need to let it go, but they can't do that because they have all their money that they get. I mean, think about it. It costs them money to do all this, and they're used to the type of monies that they make, and the amount of what their paychecks are and stuff like that. And I think that's another thing that's really kind of crappy about it is just the rate of inflation with all of this. With all of this stuff, is just bananas at this point.
Well, I mean, when you think about it this way, when George Lucas did the first 3 Star Wars movies, it cost not a small fortune, a big fortune. Mm-hmm. Stop motion photography, They had to pay the paid studio craftsmen, had to build the AT-ATs and build the X-Wings and build the TIE fighters and do all that stuff. Now you can recreate all the Star Wars movies with software that you can either buy or subscribe to on your laptop and make it look better than it was originally. That's the type, it brings down the cost of development. Advancement is supposed to bring down the cost of development. And for whatever reason, and I have no idea why, in gaming, that has not been the case.
Because you're able to do more. I think the problem is
but I mean, it's like you can do more with your cell phone and making a movie than you could when George Lucas made those Star Wars movies, just as an example. But for whatever reason, and I have no idea why, is like when Sean Layden did that interview with What's Up PlayStation, he's like, every time a new console comes out, doesn't matter from what the platform holder is, the development costs quadruple.
Yeah.
And that is like gaming. It seems to be like seemingly the only, I mean, we're talking outside of, inflationary costs, cost of living, across the board, all that other stuff comes into play to a certain degree. But why did the people that developed the first Spider-Man 2018, why did they deem it necessary to increase the staffing by 20% for Spider-Man 2? It's like, why couldn't the same people that developed the game with those same amount of people? Now, I know people come and go during the course of a project. Why do they have to bring up just the writing staff 20%? It's like, well, the first group did a great game. Just have that group just do the same thing. Why do you have to increase them by 20%? Things like that don't seem to make sense to me. And I think the secret of these companies discovering the profit margins that they want to make, still, you're not going to approach Call of Duty, because that seems to be the target that everybody seems to want to hit. You're not going to hit that. But to increase those profit margins that these publishers want to get to, you got to reduce the costs of development. And if no one's willing to address that, you guys are still going to be chasing that same monkey up the tree and never being able to catch him.
Oh, with non-creative people that just want continuous growth and just want to make profit on top of profit. That's it. Sometimes in the art of making games, you're not going to necessarily be successful 100% of the time. This is not something to where it's it's a guarantee out there. I think people could see through something that's just convoluted, and we've seen plenty of games, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, you name it. I mean, if you see a game that's constructed as being for profit, by profit, you're not going to get your profit. So there's a delicate line here that needs to be followed too, where, you're expecting so much profit, so much money from this. And sometimes, you got to let your creative juices go, because that's where you're going to get your, quote unquote, money tree coming out, so it's the point of being patient too for these companies as well. So we'll have to see what happens. I think things come and go as the seasons come and go. If need be, you'll probably see in 6 years Square Enix decided to create more smaller games if need be, once maybe their major tentpole titles are quote unquote stale, if whatnot. So Right. Well, in other news, we'll kind of round out the Jabroni gaming news for this episode. Ubisoft finally has announced their Japanese Assassin's Creed game. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is launching for every system, PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on November 15th. on there. So you do play as both a female ninja, Naoi, and Yusuke, the legendary samurai, black samurai, on there. So, and a lot of people were creating some sort of back and forth about that whole narrative. But historically, this particular character has always been African on there. So it's not just a simple quote unquote palette swap to throw it in there and whatnot. So people forget on there. So I know that, Kev, I know you mentioned that there might be some back and forth discussion, just like with Stellar Blade and whatnot about this game. I hope not, because I think
it's already happened, bro.
I know.
It's all we're at DEF CON. We're at DEF CON 1, and the game or whatever the high, I can't remember if it's the higher the number, the greater the threat, or the lower
the lower the number.
Yeah, we at DEF CON 1 with Black Flag on this. Yeah, it's crazy. And like, here's the thing. Again, I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna offend people on both sides. As I said last time, let it fly if it don't apply. Yusuke himself, historically, not a lot is known about him. You got historians that will say that he was a samurai. The female consultant on this game claims that he was, and she is I think she was born in Britain. She's Japanese descendant or of Japanese ethnicity, but she either lives in the UK or splits her time between the UK and Japan. She says that that Yusuke was a samurai, but never saw combat because Nobunaga valued him as some type of advisor.
Yeah.
Then you got other people that say that he was a retainer, that he was Nobunaga either purchased him or he was gifted to him by the Jesuits who had come to Japan to proselytize the Japanese people, and that he was a gift to Nobunaga in trying to appease him so that they could get their missionary work done. And that he was basically, kind of like the guy that he almost like the royal jester that he brought out to do party tricks for important guests. And he was basically made a weapons bearer for Nobunaga himself. But Nobunaga apparently did value his friendship and sought some level of counsel from him. But the thing is that there is literally not a whole lot of agreed upon history about the man. After Nobunaga's assassination, or I don't know if it's murder, death, whatever, he was killed by those in opposition to him. And again, I'm not a history buff. I'm just getting this just from bits and pieces that I pulled from folks who either do or claim to know more about this stuff than I do. He drifted into obscurity. History really doesn't have a definite, can't make a definite decision as to what happened to the man. In my opinion, that makes a perfect Assassin's Creed protagonist. Somebody who does not have an agreed upon history, does not have nobody knows anything about him. The thing that folks have been complaining about is that ever since Assassin's Creed started, you were a fictional character interacting with historical people who are giving you missions and whatnot, and they say, oh well, he should have been somebody who would give you missions, and you should have been able to play as one of like there are some people who are saying that you should have been able to play as Hattori Hanzo, Musashi, and then there's like some other mythical, whether he existed or not is up for debate from what I understand, and I can't remember the man's name, but he was supposed to be almost like basically this supernatural ninja who lived at the time of this feudal period that Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in. Here's the thing. I didn't hear nobody get bent out of shape when we had this blonde, blue-eyed white guy on the cover of what was that game?
Neo.
Neo of Neo. I didn't hear nobody got bent out of shape of that. And you can say, well, Neo is not based on any real history. Guess what? Yusuke is in Neo.
Yeah,
He's one of the people one of the bosses that you fight. Okay, so there goes that. He is also in one of the what is it? The Muso games. As I can't remember if he's a playable character or if he's somebody you come in contact in the storyline.
It would be Samurai Warriors.
Samurai Warriors 5, I think. A Japanese-made game. Didn't nobody have a problem with that? Assassin's Creed. Are we really going to Assassin's Creed for history lessons? We're going to Assassin's Creed, which is basically a story about aliens with a magical apple, handing this magical apple to key people and trying to rule the world behind it, and these secret organizations trying to get said magic apple in order to control the way things go in the world. That I somehow don't recall the magical apple by the magical aliens in my history class. Although the way I view ancient history, that's probably closer to the truth than most people actually think. But I think it's a whole lot of bitching and complaining, and your racist slip is showing. I honestly believe that. And some of these folks who are just bitching and mad. And here's the thing, and this is why I know that they're bitching and mad, is because every time when what was that game that just came out for PS Plus, Zao, Tales of Zao drop.
Yeah.
Okay, this black man I think he was a voice actor for
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Assassin's Creed Origins, decides that he wants to make a game based on the African country of his descent mythology. What was the first thing that these same folks said? Oh, it's woke. How is it woke when this is a black man from Africa creating a game based on the mythologies of his people? How did that become woke? Well, he consulted with somebody from Sweet Baby. Okay, so he consulted with somebody about Sweet Baby for something about the game. What exactly did Sweet Baby consult with him about? What was the result of that consultation, and how did that consultation of that known piece of information that they shared with him regarding the development of this game turn it into something woke? Nobody knows. All we know is that it's associated with Sweet Baby, so oh my God, it's woke. And people backflipped, complained, laughed, said, oh, ain't nobody gonna play this game because it's woke. Doesn't make any sense. And let's also not ignore the fact that there is a Japanese woman protagonist in this game who is completely ignored in the arguments behind Yusuke being in it. It's like, why y'all acting as if Yusuke is the only playable character in the game? They're going back to what they did with what was that, Assassin's Creed 4 or 5 that took place in the UK, where you were the brother and sister team. The woman was Syndicate? More stealth. Syndicate, yeah. The woman was geared more toward stealth, or what is typical, your usual Assassin's Creed play. The dude was the brawler. Okay, the dude was the brawler. Now I'm going to flip it over on the other side. You can't deny that there is a pandering going on with Western developers. That is painfully clear. Whether you're talking about, swaps, putting ethnicities in areas where it doesn't make sense, although for me it doesn't take away from the playability of the game. It's in there for the sake of being in there. Why is it in there? Because you got companies like BlackRock that come in, and for their money, if you want to get a hold of their money, and for a lot of smaller development teams and for even bigger development teams, companies like BlackRock have subsidiaries that are acting with the purpose of funding entertainment across the board to get these ESG scores up. Representation across the board, even where it doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that doesn't happen. But with Assassin's Creed Shadows, you have a character who existed, whose true historical existence is shadowed in a great deal of uncertainty. And the female that is the counterpart, I think she's the daughter of some historical leader of some historical ninja clan. I don't get the beef. I don't get the beef. I don't understand it.
Where's the beef?
I don't understand it. Now what people should be pissed off is this pricing scheme that they got behind Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's what they should be pissed at. They should be pissed off that a whole mission is behind, like, either the second to last tier of the pre-order package. If you're going to be mad about something, be mad about these crazy pricing. This whole pricing nonsense that Ubisoft. This isn't the first time Ubisoft has done something like this. We ain't mad at that. A nigga with a katana that's just a bridge too far. We no. Even though he actually existed. No, we can't have that. No.
Yeah,
not in Assassin's Creed.
There's a bonus quest thrown to the dogs that is available via pre-order. So, unfortunately I have to get the pre-order to be able to get the mission, I believe. So, and take a look at your retailers, because they're offering different incentives. Target has a steelbook, so that's where I went. So probably wouldn't buy this day one unless there was a steelbook involved. So, but it's quite nice. So I don't know if you two are looking to buy this day one.
I gotta see gameplay. I gotta see gameplay first.
I'm with Kevin. I can't. I don't. Generally, I do not like Assassin's Creed games. Though I might have to make an exception because it is in Japan, and I just love Japanese culture and everything about it. So we're gonna have to see gameplay. We're gonna see a little bit of the story, but this is actually the only one that this is literally since the whole inception of Assassin's Creed. This is the one that I'm finally like somewhat excited for. So we'll see what happens, and then we'll go from there. But right now, I'm just chilling. Let's just work it out.
For sure. We'll talk about the game more once it approaches its release, and maybe if one of us picks it up, I'll give our impressions of it if need be. I do have a couple more news stories around that the Jabroni Gaming News this episode. So we had an update from Airship Syndicate regarding Wayfinder. So Wayfinder is getting a Echoes update for the early access edition for Wayfinder. So they are converting the game from a always online title into a single player game with optional co-op play on here. So the update because this is the game that the Digital Extremes, the publisher of, trying to think of the name of the game. I don't know why I'm blanking. The one with the robots.
Wayfinder?
Not Wayfinder. What's the?
You're talking about Night War, the Battle Chasers?
No,
That was another one they did.
I'm thinking of Digital Extremes.
Warframe.
Warframe, yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so
No
they kind of kicked this game to the curb, gave it back to Airship Syndicate. Airship Syndicate decided, okay, we're not going to make this to where you have to log in every day to get bonuses and so on and so forth. They made it back into a single-player game with multiplayer capacities as well. So if you bought the game early access like me and Des did, you'll be able to play this and be able to, obviously play it in this new form on there. You could also, once on Steam on June 11th, buy the early access at $24.99 as well. So, and then the Echoes update will also be out for PlayStation 5 later on in the summer, and basically also be released for Xbox Series in the fall as well. Once it comes out formally in the fall, it will have a price increase from the $24.99 on there. So, and they made it so where there's going to be no online queuing for this game. It's just going to be a game you play front to back, beginning, middle, and end on there. So, but they want to basically be able to make sure that this game is around forever. They don't want this game to be lost on here. So they did mention the fact that all progress you do have in the current online version of Wayfinder won't carry over to the single player game on there. So, and there will be no in-game microtransactions or no in-game purchases, all one price.
That's great
on here. So people that have already purchased the game will have access and all exclusive items included in each pack. So the Founder Pack will not be going back on sale. So for anyone that supported them by purchasing any in-game currency, they converted that into new in-game currency used to acquire exclusive cosmetics on there. So, and they have also made some gameplay elements as well. So they basically, some of the elements is that all weapons becoming randomized drops with various slots, armor is now having stats and being collectible, thousands of cosmetics and items available to collect, and the removal of the grind to get new characters on there. So they're going to be able to open up that automatically. So I'm grateful because I was interested in this game, but a lot of the systems around it seem kind of like, I don't know about this. How do you feel about this, Des?
I feel great.
All right.
I feel great. I'm like, I've already played for it. I have supported Airship Syndicate from the beginning, so I'm excited to hear this. And I know people are saying like, some people online were saying they should be supported and sorry, they should be, lauded for what they're doing. And some people have said for doing things that shouldn't have been there in the first place. And I'm like, it's a lot different because sometimes these microtransactions are what are sometimes the things that keep these studios afloat, especially the smaller ones. And a lot of times if you're able to at least, meek out a living, with some of this stuff, then and it's weird. I know that it sounds like I'm, okaying microtransactions, and I do believe that in some cases some of these are I don't want to say valid, but they can be okay. If it's a smaller studio and because for Airship Syndicate, this was going to be like the game that they were going to basically be able to update and keep going for a very long time. And then they were
Extremes.
they kicked them to the curb because they thought that their business model was not such that it can maintain. So then Airship Syndicate basically said, well, we put a lot of time and money into this and we're going to finish it. We're going to finish it and then move on to something else. And this is a double A, studio trying to, keep their doors open. So I get it. It's crappy. It's not good. It's all bad. But at the same time, some of these for some of these companies, this is a way for them to stay afloat. And I'm just glad that they have the wherewithal and the funding to be able to complete the game that they you know that they're putting out, and it's not just completely abandoned. So I, for
Yeah.
one, am excited to play it. I will play what they're gonna put out, and we're gonna go from there. So yeah.
Yeah, one thing I am thinking about doing just to support Airship Syndicate is to buy the game on Steam, because they did mention the fact that it is Steam Deck verified, and so
Yeah.
it will be playable on Steam Deck once it comes out on June 11th. So, all right, and last news story I have, round up this beefy Jabroni gaming news for this episode. Arcade Archives Hamster Corporation has announced ACA Arcade Archives Advanced 2 Neo Geo. So they are basically re-releasing all their Arcade Archive Neo Geo classic titles for both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series during the summer. What kind of bonuses that they're going to have with this re-release of this particular series is that they are going to have online play enabled for all these Neo Geo titles. So there's 100 games in this catalog, including all of the King of Fighters series, Puzzle Bobble, Samurai Showdown, and more. So basically, the PlayStation 5 Xbox Series versions will include network modes, including Time Attack and Original and High Score and Caravan modes as well. So kind of cool that they're going back in and they're actually adding online lobbies for a lot of these old Neo Geo games. So if you wanted to play online Savage Rain or Double Dragon, or God forbid, maybe do some multiplayer Sengoku 3 or something, you have the ability to be able to do this with this announcement. So I think that's kind of
amazing.
Cool. Yeah. So, especially with the single player games and whatnot, or with the non-fighting game multiplayer games, I think that's kind of cool. So, and these games usually run, I think the usual Arcade Archives price is $7.99. So I haven't seen as far as how much they're going to charge for these. Probably like $9.99, $12.99, but it might be worth a pickup on some of these. I'd love to play some Samurai Showdown, even though I probably have it in collections previous, but be kind of cool. I'm going to check these out. So, Kev, any Neo Geo titles that would stick out as you would want to pick up to have network play?
The Samurai games, particularly 2.
Yeah.
King of Fighters, particularly 98. That's probably my favorite one. Just about all of them, because I mean SNK was just, and definitely of course Mark of the Wolves.
Yeah.
SNK was just everybody. I don't get me wrong. I love Capcom in the 90s. I think they're a great studio today also, by the way. But when it came to being in the arcade, SNK was the company that grabbed me, particularly with their fighting games. Like, I'm Team Fatal Fury over Street Fighter all day, every day.
Every day.
Yeah, maybe Real Bout 2, because Real Bout 2 I never really had a chance to play too much. I played on some of the Fatal Fury collections on PS2, but that was a game that came out later in the Neo Geo's life that we really didn't have access to. We played Real Bout Fatal Fury Special on the Saturn like all day long. I mean, that was Fight Night Fridays for me and you, Kev. So
yeah.
Oh, wow. So can't wait to play some Duck King on your ass.
Duck.
All right, and that's Jabroni Gaming News for this beefy episode.
Thank you very much, Jabroni Chief. Game nights take place. Well, a new game night is going to take place Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is the new day of the week that we are going to set aside to interact with our growing Discord family. So if there's a game that you'd like to play with us and with other members of the Gaming Vessels Discord, what you're going to want to do is mention that in the game night channel on our Discord server. So you might be asking, well, how am I able to join the Discord server? That's easy as well. You just head over to the app formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X,
X.
and you want to go over to at Gaming Vessels, GAMINGVESSELS. You're going to tap that Discord link and you're in. So there's no waiting period, and there is no Patreon tier list that we need you to pay for, no merch that you got to buy. All you got to do is click the link. Just be a good person that likes talking about video games and things going on in the gaming industry, and just not be a jerk. And if you're looking for a place to discuss varied opinions within the gaming industry and not be subject to personal attack, I think you will find an excellent home on our Discord server, because none of that goes on there. All perspectives and viewpoints are accepted. They are debated, but we all come step away from the discussion as friends. Because I mean, at the end of the day, this is still just video games, y'all. It's like it ain't that serious.
Yeah. No one's usually leaving butt hurt. We maybe had one instance of that, but that's done deal. So
yeah. So definitely want to encourage y'all to take part and join in our Gaming Vessels Discord family. So that is going to bring episode 247 to a close. I want to thank y'all for chilling out with us and hanging out for this episode. So for Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover / Hater,
that's me,
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that Gamer Stepdaddy, and for Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. I'm Shonuff71, aka Digga Dulamite.
At Purple Bling Bling, y'all never forget.
Never forget.
Never
And
forget.
So we'll be back next time, episode 248 for your ears. Peace.